What is up, everybody? Welcome to another video on my channel, and today we are going to be working on a 2012 Ford Fiesta. So what we're going to be doing is, this car has probably around 105,000 miles, so it's getting really hot over here. It's summertime. It's getting really hot over here. We had a couple days in which it hit over 110 degrees. So my girlfriend's car had the, I don't know what you call it, the overheat light come on. It doesn't have a temperature gauge, it's just an overheat light. But you know, it's as far as just regular maintenance, it's good to just flush out the system. I did already go ahead and hose down the radiator, make sure there was like no leaves, no brush, you know, making sure that air was actually flowing through there. I did do that, cleaned off the engine bay a little bit, but granted, that was just, you know, so that was just a circumstance of the really hot weather. But I'm going to go ahead and it's just as preventative maintenance, I'm going to do a coolant flush on this. But then I thought, well, if I'm going to have the coolant out of it, I'm going to replace the thermostat. Now, I want you to know it's absolutely not necessary to replace the thermostat. These brand new cars, they will go a lot longer than, you know, the cars, you know, 20, 30 years ago. So I'm going to go ahead and I will replace the thermostat. And again, it's not necessary. It hasn't had any issues. It's still opening up, you know. So I'm just going to do it just because, you know, I'm going to take the coolant out of it. But I'm going to show you guys how to get it done in case that you do have to do it yourself. I don't know how often it happens. You know, I mean, it does happen. Parts fail. It's just the nature of you know, cars, just man-made objects. So anyways, without further ado, got my girlfriend's 2012 Ford Fiesta right here. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to replace the thermostat on there, and then we're just going to flush out the cooling system, and that's going to be it. So, you know, this ain't going to be no Fiesta, that's for sure. Get it? Get it? It's a Fiesta joke? It's a Fiesta. I should probably edit that out. Okay, let's get to it. Okay guys, so I don't know if I'm missing something here, but I do not see a drain valve on this thing whatsoever. So this is the bottom radiator hose. All I did was I just crimped it or put it together. I don't know what you call it. Anyways, it's got a little hook on it so it just stays open on itself. So essentially what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slowly let the coolant out instead of just letting it spill everywhere. It would have been nice to have a drain valve, but I can't find one, so I don't know. If I missed it, let me know, guys. I really don't know. But I'm just going to slowly let the coolant come out so I don't make a big old mess in my garage. Like, well, that was kind of a mess right there. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Well, there you go. Well, there goes that plan. Alright, so honestly, like, I had already taken out maybe probably half of what was actually left in there, and the minute I started recording was the minute everything went to just crap. So that sucked. That really sucked. So it didn't get everywhere, but there's definitely some spilling. So yeah, that sucked. But anyways, let's continue on. That was an interesting moment. Alright guys, so I wanted to show you something kind of unique over here. So I ended up putting the hose on the bottom again. But one thing unique about this vehicle is that it's got a stretch belt. So it's a serpentine belt that actually stretches on. You don't have a tensioner. So essentially you need a tool similar to this. What you do is you end up putting this on the crank pulley. So it should, I'm going to take the logo off. Yeah. So I'm going to cover the logo up here because I don't want to advertise for anybody. But essentially what you do is there's a hole in the pulley in which you screw in, well, the screw here, and you put the tool in there. And as you spin the crank, the belt goes over this. It helps put it on there. So one of the things that I was actually going to show you is I'm taking the belt off without the tool. So I'm going to attempt to show you how to do it if you don't have the tool to install it or remove it. This is something that I've done in the past. Granted, it has been a while, but essentially I'm going to show you where I'm at right now. I ended up taking off the passenger side wheel. As you can see here, I have an 18mm that's on the crank bowl right now, and I'm spinning it. And then as you can see, I have my little screwdriver right here. So essentially, as I'm spinning it, I put a screwdriver in here, and I put it in through this side, closest to the engine. I hug the pulley on this side with the other end, and as I'm spinning it, it's spinning off the belt. So as you can see, right here, the belt comes loose, right? And this is a tiny little belt, so that's it right there, and I hope you caught that, but I had to take that off. So essentially, what has to happen here is I have to remove the alternator. It should be somewhere underneath where the alternator is, where I can access that thermostat. And then also I have to remove one of the oil cooler lines. That's just from a quick Google search. Now, we've never actually done it in our Fiesta, but I'm fully confident I can get this done. But I'm going to continue doing that. That's how you remove the belt if you don't have the tool to remove it. I mean, that's an easy one. I'm going to try to show you how to do it if you don't have the tool either without damaging the serpentine belt. But we're going to continue on here. I'm going to start removing the alternator. I did disconnect the battery, guys. you don't want to arc that positive battery lead that goes to the alternator. Just disconnect your battery and it's going to save you, some hassle, and it's a safety risk as well. So I'm going to continue here. It's actually getting really hot, so I really want to finish this up really quick. But let's continue on and let's see where this takes us. Okay, so I'm over on top by the alternator now. So I did remove one 15mm bolt that went up here. Now you can clearly see this just from the top of the engine bay. So one 15mm bolt. There's a 15mm nut. And then, I don't know, hopefully you guys can see that, but down here, there is a, I assume it's maybe like a 13mm nut. So that's the one that goes to the power wire to the battery. So we're gonna want to disconnect that. And then underneath the alternator, I'm not sure if there's another bolt. I'm pretty sure I'll find out soon. So for this instance, I am going to take off the actual stud itself. It is Torx. And then that Torx size is a E8 is the actual size of this, so it's just an 8, size 8 Torx. I don't know what you call Torx. I don't know. I just use them, but I don't know what you call them. So I'm just gonna remove that. I mean, I already got it loosened up, but I'm gonna remove that, and then hopefully, well, actually, I know there's got to be another bolt on the bottom, I believe. I'm not sure. I'll let you guys know once I find out. But I do have to remove this. I do have to remove the power wire, and then just kind of get that out of the way. Now, you don't actually have to remove the stud. I'm going to remove it in this instance because if I try to swing the alternator out this way, it's going to hit this AC line, and I don't want to mess with that. I don't have anything to evacuate the system, don't have anything to recharge the system, so it's going to be easier if I just essentially just come up with it. So that's why I'm going to remove the stud, so that way I can just come up with it and it'll give me enough room, and then I can go in and finish up the job. So I'm going to continue on here. I'll let you guys know here in a little bit if there's another bolt or stud or something underneath. Alright guys, so there is indeed another bolt. So as you can see, I have my ratchet and my socket there. So the other bolt is actually right on the very front face of the alternator, and it's down here. So I apologize for the poor lighting, but essentially there is another one right in front of the alternator. So if you're on the passenger side, you can see it's actually facing towards the passenger side wheel, so the right front wheel, with the other accessory drive essentially. So that's the other bolt. I'm going to take that off, alternator comes off, and then we'll see what else we have after that. Alright guys, so this is the alternator. So it goes in the engine kind of like this. So it's kind of sitting there like this, right? Well, I mean straight and level and whatnot. But so essentially what you have, this is the stud right here. Take off with the Torx E8, 15mm bolt. You have on the very bottom of it, it's a 15mm bolt. The nut for the positive battery wire, 13mm bolt, or nut, sorry, 13mm nut, and then you have a 1-wire clip right here, and it just comes right off, and then you can pull it right up. Okay, so essentially, oh, I need my flashlight. Okay, so essentially what you have is you have this open space right here now. Okay, so there's two things that have to happen. So over here, so my thermostat should actually be in this housing right there where my flashlight is, if you guys saw that. So that should be where my thermostat goes in. There's an oil cooler line, supposedly. Well, actually, let's just follow it. Let's do that. So here's your reservoir right here. You have a line that comes down this way. Okay, then it appears to Y off this way. One of them does seem to go to the oil cooler. And then your thermostat should actually be in this area here, and this is your lower radiator hose. So you guys saw me take off the lower radiator hose to drain this thing. So I want you to know that one of the things that you can do is to make sure that your engine is warm, the thermostat is open, and then try draining it. I didn't want to do that. It was going to be a little too hot for me personally. So one thing I'm expecting right now is as soon as that piece comes off and that thermostat is removed, there's going to be a lot of coolant still left behind there. So I'm expecting to have another mess. So it's kind of up to you in whichever way you want to do it. But if you want to actually run the engine, have the thermostat open so it has to be warmed up, and then you essentially drain your cooling system. That would be the most efficient way, so you get everything out all at once. I didn't want to do it that way. You can do it however you want, but I will expect another mess to come as soon as I remove that thermostat out, because it wasn't open and there's a lot of fluid behind it still. So, it's up to you. I'll let you guys decide how you want to do it, but yeah, I'm going to keep looking away. I'll show you the next steps right now. Alright guys, so I got the thermostat housing actually off. So I couldn't show you the last part even if I wanted to, because it was just such a tight area. There's a bolt down here. So this is the bolt. Okay, so if you're actually looking at it, it was going to be installed this way in the vehicle. You have one 8mm I don't know if you can catch that. One 8mm, second 8mm, there's a third right here, and there's one on the bottom. This one was actually one that I couldn't see, nor could I show you guys. It was just way too tight. And then the thermostat came out. So the thermostat is actually sticking in there just like this, and then you just pull it out. So you want to really make sure that you are careful, because this is the one that goes to the oil cooler, this side here. So my seal was actually stuck to the engine block itself. You want to make sure that you grab that, because you don't want any leaks. Okay, so just make sure you check that. And then you want to check the surfaces here, because you want to have a perfect close, or a perfect seal, when you put this back on. So I would double check that, make sure there's no abrasions or anything. I would recommend maybe using like a really light Scotch-Brite pad, but seriously, like, you have to really be careful. This is plastic right here. And then again, also go ahead and check the engine block side of this. So that's it, and I've gotten to it. So I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna replace this, and then we will go ahead and we will put it all back together. I probably won't show you as many steps putting it back together, because this is gonna make for a really lengthy video. One of the things I do want to show you though is when I do put the serpentine belt back on. I'm trying to do it without tools, trying to show you guys, you know, a method to do it. But I'm gonna go ahead, stick the thermostat in here. I'm gonna do everything reverse, as you know, or the reverse way of taking it off. But yeah, so let's go ahead and let's go do that. I'm gonna make sure all my surfaces are clean. Just gonna clean everything off, make sure I get a perfect seal, because I don't want to go through this again if it does leak. I mean, it's not that it's like an extremely lengthy process, but you know, it's kind of lengthy. I mean, I think it probably best spend like 30-45 minutes just to get to this point, so you don't want to be here all day, especially if it's really hot out. So let's go ahead, let's continue this. I'm going to clean this off, put the new thermostat in there, and then we're just going to get to rolling. We're going to bleed it out, and then hopefully everything goes perfect the first time around. If not, oh well, but let's go ahead and let's continue. Alright guys, I got everything back on, so hopefully you can see this, but this is what's happening. So the tool that I actually rented to put the stretchy belt on does not actually work. I did not find any way for the tool that I got. I did not find any way to thread into the actual pulley. There is a hole right here, somewhere along here, in which you just put in the actual tool, and then with the tool you're actually able to navigate this back in. Since I don't have that, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to attempt to put it back on. So essentially there are two lips on this thing. So one is the lip over here where the actual pulley is, and the second one is like there's a front portion onto this pulley, and I have my ratchet over here, 18mm, onto the crank pulley. So what I'm going to do similar to how I took it off. So I'm going to put the screwdriver, I'm going to hold it to the very back, or pry it against the very back of the pulley. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm turning it, I'm going to force it to kind of align itself. Alright guys, sorry for moving screwdriver, but my belt is almost all the way on here. It's kind of sliding off the water pump here. Sorry about the last shot, but the camera's kind of in the way, so it makes it really difficult. So I'm going to try and spin it. Well, there goes my flashlight. I'm going to try and spin this, and hopefully we can get it to go on. It's close. It is close. Hopefully we can get it without the water pump sliding off. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, so like I was saying, it's definitely difficult with the camera down here, but I think we almost got it on. There we go. Oh, and it didn't work. Let's see if I can get my flashlight on it. If I don't break it first. Alright, attempt number 2. Come on. Okay. So actually the top of the crank is doing pretty good. It's just my water pump is not lining up correctly. Let me see if I can give you guys a better shot. So that's the water pump pulley right there. So I think what I'm just going to do is I'm going to use a little pry bar, try to align it, keep spinning it and try to align it. I know it's not the best instruction, but you know, I apologize for that, but you know, this is the best I can do right now. It's really tough. All my other pulleys are aligned, but it's really tough to film and get this film and use the camera at the same time. So I'm just going to keep spinning it. I'm going to use my pry bar to keep, you know, trying to align it onto the water pump, and everything should be good. So I'm going to continue doing that, and then we'll be done. I'll end up putting fluid in the system, making sure there's no air in it, test driving it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. You know, I'm going to continue struggling with this, and that should do it. I'm not sure if I need to actually show the rest of this. I did put the alternator and everything back together. So If you guys do have any further questions, feel free to let me know. The rest of this is now it's simple. It's just fill, purge, test drive, and just verifying that you repaired it correctly. But yeah, other than that, that's all it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This one was a rather lengthy one. And just remember, whatever it is you do, go out there, have fun, and yeah, just enjoy life. So I'm gonna continue struggling here, and I'll catch you guys in another video. Peace.